Hello, welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Mike.
And my name
I'm
is Ray.
I'm joined by Ray. Josh
hmm
is out, and that's fine. Because I'm back. It's
You
been a
are right.
minute. Uh, there's a busy time in my life that is still ongoing and will be for the next 25 years.
I think when you sign up for one of these things, it's kind of a forever thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I should say at least 25 years. But then after that, then you just have to deal with emotional helping. And we all know that that's like super easy, so that'll be fine.
Oh yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
if like something catastrophic happens and everyone has to like merge together, then it become the
Yeah. If they
economical
ever take the
scale.
Destiny servers offline, then Dad's gonna need some help here. They're gonna
One
have to.
day it might
They're gonna
happen.
have to. They're gonna have to figure something out for me. It won't
I
be
mean,
pretty,
before
but
we get into it, how does that make you feel knowing that one day Destiny 2 will go offline and your days, possibly months at this point of work, Mike, will just disappear?
if I get a sick jacket, correction, the opportunity to purchase a sick jacket by being on their online when they shut the servers down, it'll be worth it. And
Okay,
then I will
fair enough.
immediately pre-order their next game because.
I mean, that was never a question.
But I guess the important thing is to get on topic here. You know,
Okay.
one of the challenges that they don't tell you about fatherhood,
hmm
and something that was not in my baby book,
Okay.
was what to do if your baby is kidnapped by an evil fungus mind that splits your baby into four pieces and then puts them in individual jars and then gives them to people who live in a spooky village.
We should say that we are talking about Resident
Oh
Evil
yeah,
8.
by the way, this
Or,
is the Resident Evil 8 spoiler cast, so get out if you
yeah, if
haven't
you
played it.
haven't played,
Or don't care, that's
actually,
fine. Be a grown up.
if you haven't played 7 either, and you actually want to know what the story of 7 is, yeah, kick rocks, because 8 is a direct sequel from 7, and we have to spoil bits of 7 just to get to 8. So, if you really want to play Resident Evil Village, and you should, stop listening now. Go buy it for $60 on Steam at the time of this recording. You'll enjoy it. Actually, I want to talk about that with you. You played the PS5 version, yeah?
I did, yes.
What was your frame rate, if you don't mind
Very
me
good.
asking?
It was very good.
Okay.
Just I think it was just like 60, but rock solid.
I I had to mess with a lot of settings to get it at a rock solid 60. Otherwise,
Interesting.
it loved dipping to 30, or it loved just saying, you know what, your textures are just going to be bad. You're going to have to deal.
Hmm.
It wasn't until I was like halfway through the game. I
It
don't know
does.
if there's an
It does that
optimization
like
issue.
that dynamic. Does it do the dynamic resolution thing where it just immediately turns, just like
Yeah,
immediately
yeah, it was
turns to
doing
mud?
that.
You're like, oh great, awesome,
So I
sick.
had to deal with a lot of that. I'm sure on consoles, it was a lot easier to mess around with because they're not messing with different settings.
Yeah,
So I'm a little jealous of that if it was running at like 60 frames per second on like I think you said no, wait, you did say played it on PS5, but otherwise it was a good experience. But I'm sorry, technical jargon aside, Josh would have loved that. Um, Mike, what did you think of Resident Evil Village?
I guess just to clarify, this is actually my first Resident Evil game.
Oh
I
yeah,
I have not played a single other Resident Evil game, including Seven, the game that you probably should play before you play this one. Uh, there was a 2 minute summary of what happened in Seven at the beginning of this game, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Works for me. I had a great time. I had a great time playing this game. I think there are some parts of it that are stronger than others, and there's some things I would have liked to see different. But overall, I had a pretty good time with this. How about you? And I guess what's your relative experience with the franchise?
uh, I have watched Let's Plays of every single game because I'm that kind of Resident Evil fan that like watches from afar in the stadium. I'm like, that looks like a fun game. One day I should probably play that, and it never happens. I actually did play the hell out of Resident Evil 4. Played that when it came on the
Hmm.
GameCube, and I'm like, ooh, Lord, what are we doing here? We ain't walking around with no fixed camera tank controls. We got Leon Kennedy aiming around the back. I was playing it with my friend Kevin. Shout outs to Kevin if he listens to this.
Shout out to
And
Kevin. We love. We love Kevin,
We,
don't we, folks?
we do love Kevin. We discovered that when the Ganados throw the knife at you or something, you could shoot the knife out of the air. If you aim, you're like, oh, there it is, best game of the year. And, it actually was the game of the year when it came out.
It actually was, yes.
Yeah, that shit's hot. It's obvious though that Resident Evil 4 changed the way the entire series has shifted, because Resident Evil 5 completely copied the Formula 4 and added co-op, and 6, the less we talk about, the better. I think Capcom was trying something and it didn't work.
While we're doing shout-outs, shout out to my wife, who I love so much, who's watching the wee baby while we are recording this, and then also watched me play 2 parts of this game. And the 2 parts that she watched were the most boring part and the scariest part. So she had a real rough time with it. I felt bad.
There's some hills and valleys in this game.
But she got some real peaks and valleys. Let's just say that.
Yes. I didn't play 7. I didn't even watch a Let's Play of 6. I didn't play 7 because I figured if I was ever going to play it one day, I should experience that myself. I did play 8 because what a great marketing campaign. Big vampire lady. And I was like, okay, what does she do?
Yeah, that big lady. Tell me, I want to see more of that big lady.
And the game does deliver. You do.
Is the big woman here?
Not
like our friend Tormund from... As a great man once said, from a show that ended up sucking. Is the big woman here? And she's here, folks.
Oh my God, is she here?
Actually, I think honestly, before we get to Lady Dimitrescu, we need to talk about Ethan.
Okay.
The quite possibly my favorite video game protagonist now. I love this guy.
Wow, where to start with Ethan Winters? The game opens strong with him. It's like, oh yeah, he's your everyday guy. He's just walking around in his lavish home.
In their bomb ass house. Incredible. Do you see that woodwork in there?
Not just the woodwork, the plants all around. They had succulents, they had ivies, they had ferns. Where do you get the time?
Yeah, Mother Miranda. She's like the botanical, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Mother Miranda disguised as his wife, who reads very creepy fantasy books to their child, and he's like, Ethan's like, hey, that's kind of fucked up, and she's like, it's fine.
So
immediate bad
vibes.
The
biggest spoiler.
Immediate. But Ethan's like, oh, okay, that's whatever. All right.
I didn't get bad vibes from her just because of where that person came from in part 7. It's like, yeah, she's fucked up in the head. And why wouldn't you be, contextually how Resident Evil 7 comes about? Ethan's wife, whatnot. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever, roll with it. Creepy European story. I don't care. The animation of it was great. I loved it. Very,
yeah, it was good.
Damn it, there's a studio that does that type of animation. One of the last movies they made was Box Trolls and Kubo and the Two Strings.
It's Studio Laika.
Well, Studio Laika, thank you. Yeah, very Studio Laika-like.
If you're listening to this, stop, actually, and go watch Kubo and the Two Strings. It's a great movie.
What a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Excellent movie.
It's a wonderful movie.
We delve into a creep got robbed of Kubo and the Two Strings.
Surprise! Once again, I like using Creed Got Robbed as a platform for me to litigate my petty grievances with the movie-going public for not saving movies that deserved better. It's your fault everything sucks now because you didn't go see this movie. I'm fine. It's okay.
Did Kubo and the Two Strings do bad?
Terrible.
Really?
Mega bomb.
Oh no! Oh yeah! I'm looking at up box office and budget. Oh no! Oh gosh!
Oh no!
Mother Empress had George Takei as a voice actor. You ain't sitting your butts in the theaters to see that? How dare! Charlize Theron as the monkey?
Yeah.
What do you? Matthew McConaughey as Father Beetle? What do you want? What more do you need?
Is he? It's useless, Ray. It's
okay.
It's Marvel Town.
All right. This is Marvel Town.
There you go.
All right, commiseration about this movie. Kubo and the Two Strings got robbed. That's the podcast.
It sure did. Oh, change the title.
Okay. Sorry about that.
But I digress. We have to talk
Yeah,
again
digression
about
aside.
Ethan, quite possibly my favorite video game protagonist. Why do I love Ethan so much, you ask? Excuse me. Well, the first thing is that he's a real dumbass.
I love
And
him.
as a fellow dumbass, I respect that. Like, first of all, again, more petty grievances and things I'm hyper aware of. That crib is incredibly unsafe. That's the scariest thing in this game. Is that crib? This is not a safe sleep crib. You got liners, you got pillows, choking hazards, suffocation hazards. Not safe for sleeping. That's scarier than any part of this game other than the second part.
Okay, so let's actually, well, if you don't mind, let's go through a little bit of an order so we can establish the theming, the hills and valleys of the game.
Yes, yeah, let's do that.
Let's start where Ethan is sitting with his wife, and all of a sudden, Chris Redfield, of all fucking people, number one, he's jacked now.
Like, it's
You know that GIF where it's a SWAT team like smashing everything and running?
yeah.
Through
The guy, like,
that's what
falls off
happened
the
to
team.
Ethan. He got that action.
It was that like times 20, and just like you're like, oh my, what's happening? Oh my god, what did I do?
And they're like, secure the baby, and you're like, all right, this game's kicking off. What's going
it's
on?
great. It's,
And they murk his wife. They just put several magazines straight into Ethan's wife in front of him, and it's like, oh, all right, Resident Evil.
it's like, well, this happens, and then Ethan's just like, oh dang.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have he's like, what's going on? Chris, what did you do? Like, motherfucker, your wife just
It's
died
just
right
like,
in front of you.
Is that your reaction to this? It's just the continuing like cavalcade of incredibly fucked up shit that happens in this game and is presented and or done to Ethan, and at times when his reaction is just like, ow, or what the heck.
This is a
It's
mild
just-
inconvenience.
It's just never not funny to me, but he's scared all the time. But like he is like a very high floor of being like, or a very low floor in that he's always like, but like anything beyond him like being like Shaggy in a Scooby Doo episode level scared is just just does not register at all.
Yeah,
Just
I think
completely. It's like one of my favorite moments of this movie or game is when he puts two and two together, that like they put like somehow through magic turned her crystallized his baby and put her in 4 different jars. And then he's looking at this jar and he's like, oh well, I already got the first one. Like, okay. He's just kind of he's just like,
that's
what the
not
heck?
fair.
Okay, that is unfair, but that's basically what his reaction is. It's just very funny to me.
I thought that reaction was kind of I thought that was one of his more grounded reactions, because that shot, which is like after the first boss in the game, the screen starts shaking, it tilts to the left, it tilts to the right, you see his hand get wobbly as he turns it and rubs it off and realizes it says Rose on it, and it says Rose's head. He's like, what the fuck? And he looks at Duke and he's like, what did you do? And he blames Duke because that's the correct thing to do. Like, how did you know
It's
this?
like,
Of course
hey,
you did this.
ooh, I didn't do any of this.
Well, before we get to Duke, we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
we're going all over the place.
Before we get to my boy Duke, we have to talk about what happens after Ethan gets captured by Chris Redfield. And, I don't know, he blacks out, and then the van that was carrying him is gone, his baby is gone, and he walks into the werewolf village. You don't know it's a werewolf village until a werewolf bites off your goddamn hand. Like, your ring and your bites off his ring and pinky finger.
just immediately getting fucked up. I mean, it's messed up. Excuse me.
Those don't come back either, which I know what you're saying.
No.
It's like, well, of course, Ray. Why would they come back? We'll get to that. Because it's inconsistent that they don't come back. But they don't come back. He just, like, bandages it and says, oh, God, that was kind of weird, wasn't it? Was that a werewolf? Yeah, this is where I'm with Mike now.
It's so funny. Like,
where he's like, wait a minute, your hand just got bit the fuck off.
it's like he's literally missing 2 fingers and puts, like... Yeah, some Neosporin and like a paper towel. It's like, oh wow, that was kind of scary, huh? And he was like,
Man,
you need to
that
go to a
doesn't happen every
hospital
day.
now, dude. And he's just like, I'm good.
Oh,
And again,
oh shit.
one of the other underlying weird things in this game is that the second you hit the heal button, you're not like drinking something. You're not putting like a healing stim in or like a shot or something in your arm. Like you just take this bottle of like healing juice. You just pour it over your hand like
You pour it over the wound, the open wound in your hand.
we're not taking video right now,
it
but I will do a demonstration if I have to on camera.
Glug, 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 glug.
And
And then you see your health bar grow.
And it's just like the game never establishes why this is happening.
It does.
It does at the very end, I think.
At the very end of the game, yes, it
which is very funny. And I'm just kind of like, the first time it happened, I'm like, that's a little. Did he? I'm just gonna note that in the back of my head. Anyways, like, so this village area kind of serves as the hub area for this game. And it's kind of like a, it's not really like a you can choose where to go kind of thing. But each time you kind of come back to the village after dealing with one of the 4 like lieutenants, there's kind of new doors and stuff you can find there and things to open. And yeah, so Ethan eventually has a run-in with the main bad guy, Mother Miranda, who's trying to do some evil stuff, presumably with your baby. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of meet the 4 lieutenants who are kind of the cast you spend the most of the game with.
Yeah, they're all in like this big room in a castle, all talking about you. And Lady Demetresque is just like, I should have him to do what I should want. You guys don't see it, but I'm standing up as tall as possible.
It's very impressive and scary.
I should do with him what I want because it is my birthright. And my favorite, or at least second favorite character, Carl Heisenberg, Magneto's his hammer to him. Is like, bitch, what you say? And all right, I have a love-hate relationship with Heisenberg, but we'll get to that. But I think Mother Miranda says, yeah, whatever, it's going to Demetresque. Who cares? And then you end up in a castle. Who is in the castle? Oh yeah, Lady Demetresque and her daughters. Her daughters have names. One of them is Cassandra. I forget. But they're not women per se. They're flies that take the form of vampire women.
Yeah,
this game's weird.
Something weird happened when the Lord Lady got sick a couple years ago, and the doctor's like, I don't know. We tried all the bloodletting. We tried this big leech we found in the river. Let's try this really fucked up looking bug thing that we found in this weird cave and see if that does something. And it did. And this is kind of like the you're running around an area, Resident Evil. I haven't played them, but I kind of understand the basic gist of like, this is a pretty classic like Resident Evil kind of area where you're like doing puzzles. You occasionally run into monsters. There's also the big lady who you can try to fight, but she will mess you up.
Can we talk about the 2 encounters with her, which I found to be
we gotta talk about the one.
Okay, there's one of them where Ethan is just walking around in the basement. You were watching me stream this, and I'm like, hey, this basement is designed like it would be a boss encounter. I'm gonna save right here. And lo and behold, Ethan like reaches for a door and swipe Lady Demetresque, who can turn her hands into giant claws, cuts off Ethan's entire right hand from its arm.
Not just like scratches it, just like the entire hand is just hanging on the elevator handle. And I'm just like, what the fuck? That's when I was like, I like where this game is going. This is great. I'm having a great time with this.
By the time you get your hand back, he reattaches the hand with his 3 fingers on the other hand, and while it's reattached, you see him pour the green liquid on it, and it reattaches not only his coat, but his hand and arm, and he's like, oh, good thing that worked. And it's like, what?
It's so fucked up.
What is that stuff?
That was honestly more fucked up than seeing it get just like cut off which is I'm like, wait, how did he put that back? I need that hand.
I need that technology that goop is
and then
made
he
out
just
of.
puts it back on, and I'm like, and the game is just kind of like, just says nothing about it. It's total deadpan, like no reaction, just to be like, yeah, you're supposed to know what that is, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is what the? Can we talk about it? Just and Ethan just like, yeah, this is fine, okay, sure.
Literally until the end of the game is when they finally tell you how that works. Oh, I love that the second time you meet Lady Dimitrescu, it's after you've killed, I think it's 2 of her daughters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's after you've killed 2 of her daughters. And you see her make a phone call, like you're peeking through a window, you see her make a phone call. Lady Miranda's pissed because it's like, hey, you're supposed to be taking care of Ethan Winters, like, testing him, blood holding him. But it seems that he's killing your family. That seems to be not part of the deal. And she gets all pissed. And Ethan's like, well, let me go into this room and steal her key. Lady Miranda pops in like, the fuck? What are you doing here? And she Broly's him. What I mean is she grabs him by the neck and slams him on the ground. Not 1, not 2, 3, 4 times. And slams him 30 floors down to the bottom of a castle.
That's so funny. I think
I love the shit she's talking to him too. Like, you come into my home, slam, kill my family, slam, steal the key to my room, slam.
It's so good. Like,
and you're just like, she's right.
It's just, Ethan, what are you doing, my man?
I love as he falls through the floor. I love his incredulous like sounds and reactions as she's slamming him to the ground, because he's just like, she's not even wrong. I can't believe this is happening right now.
Oh, like, and I think that is, I guess not to kind of like speed through, but I think one of my kind of, I feel one of the things that I was slightly down on in this game is I just feel like they have these cool characters and designs, and I just wish we got to spend more time with some of them sometimes. I feel like they breeze through some of these areas. I know they don't want to overstay their welcome, but I say that, but then I also think about my least favorite parts of the game were the parts that just felt like they went on forever. So
actually,
it's a tough balance,
For people that are wanting to play Resident Evil 8 and you think it's going to be like the big giant vampire lady game, nah, you get like 3 hours of that entire section.
Yeah.
2 if you know what you're doing, and it's over and it's gone and you never see her again. You kill her for good. That's it. Big vampire lady is barely 1/4 of the game.
Yeah,
honestly.
And that just it's
it's a little disappointing because
it's a little bit of a bummer because she's
an interesting
killer
character.
Use of screen time. Like,
yeah, you do get a lot of her. You do get to hear. I love the lines that she spouts out when she's chasing you through the castle too. She's like, "You little runt! How?" Like the more daughters you kill, the angrier she gets.
She gets so
like, how dare you? And she starts elongating her claws and smashing along each pillar that she comes along. It's great. It's good shit. Then the game goes to,
and then you're
it goes from that to what I would say is probably the scariest moment in the video game I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it kind of jumps to like a much more like a Resident Evil is kind of an action horror game, and then the next part is just this is the Belladonna. Is this the? I think it's Buenavuendo.
It's some
that's right. I think something like that. But it definitely jumps to much more of a traditional horror kind of bend. And
House Beneviento.
Yeah. So.
Top question on Google.
Boy.
Is House Beneviento scary? It's like hard yes.
Yeah.
I love the misdirection of when you enter this house because the house is literally covered ceiling to floor in dolls. And I'm not talking like, the dolls you buy nowadays, like Star Wars or Marvel figures. Nah, we're talking those old ass
full on
1800s
like
dolls.
1860, the creepiest doll you can think of.
Yeah, those
Just
types of dolls with the dead eyes. And that's not even the scary part. You go to the basement and you're like, uh-oh, there's a giant doll made of my wife. Oh,
you see,
here we go.
And this was a great bait and switch because the entire time I'm like poking that thing and like doing puzzles around. I'm like, oh, this thing is gonna jump to life and it's gonna be scary. Because also this sequence really works really well because it's not really a combat sequence. You have like, you don't have any guns. You can just run away. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
And then so you're like doing some more puzzles here, and then you get the best jump scare in this game, and oh my god, nightmare fuel.
It's not even a jump scare so much as you're looking on the ground. By the time you do this little puzzle segment with the giant like wife-sized doll, as I'm going to call it, and you look down and you see that the wife-sized doll is gone, and in its place is just a pool of blood and a very long umbilical cord, and you're like, man, I'm gonna save the game right here because I'm not gonna like where this is going, am I? And you start walking, you follow the bloody umbilical cord, you're like, man,
I think you go to like the bottom of the well and
oh yeah,
bad vibes. Anytime like a sidebar, there's like a tool that you get in this game to like bring stuff up from the bottom of a well. And one time I was using that and a ladder came up the well. I'm like, no, I got this tool to bring stuff to me. I'm not going down there. It's coming up to me. No. Not after this part that we're talking about. This part cursed me from it totally ruined wells for me. I was a big well fan before playing this game. Not anymore.
I think that was on purpose to try to like make you say, yeah, you have to go down this well.
Nope.
Do it, you punk. But at least you had your guns, so it's like, yeah let's go.
Load that grenade launcher a couple times just to be safe.
Make sure everything's topped off. So you don't have your guns. You're following the bloody umbilical cord, and peeks around the corner is, how would you describe that? This gigantic fetus baby that is just constantly crying, and it looks like an amorphous blob.
Real bad.
Fast!
It's just like, just an immediate like, nope. I've never noped harder about anything I played in a game.
You would think like because it's blob-like, it's slow. No, it's shockingly fast.
It's quick. It's like an alligator.
That's the part that like fucked me up a little too much. I'm like, okay, this can't be. And you look around behind you, and it's creeping that much closer. You're like, oh fuck, okay, this game ain't playing.
I never turned around. I'm gonna be honest. I never turned around. Look, I saw that thing, and immediately it's like, zoop, and but yeah, just overall that sequence is so good because it's a friend of mine, Maria. Shout out to Maria. She has a podcast called Spooky, Sexy, Scary, where they watch scary movies and or horror movies, I should say, and then try to determine if it's like spooky, sexy, or scary, or some partial combination. And I feel like this game is a rare trifecta because you get plenty of spooky, which is I think is like a good description for like the first sections of this game. You get a little sexy with a big lady. She's like a big vampire lady, big fancy lady. But this is when you get the actual scary. Is this part right here, and it's just all the stuff in the basement of the house to like the PT repeating section, like hide and seek, doll, nightmare, hell. That was not good.
That part when you finally get past the baby. Wait, before we get past the baby section, can I just say that when you finally find the fuse to just
oh my god.
Actually, no. One of my favorite parts is when you go down deeper into the basement, because that's what you do when you're getting chased by a fetal baby slug monster. And you try to go back upstairs, and it's like, ah! And you see it on top of the stairs. You're like, of course. Why would it be? You have two options. You hide under the bed, or you hide in the closet.
I hid under the bed, and it was just like waiting for it to go off camera so you knew it was behind you was just one of the worst feelings. Just awful. Very bad. Would not recommend. Terrible vibes.
There's another part when you find the fuse to turn on the elevator. When you turn on the elevator, you got the horror thing where the character pushes the button and then keeps pushing the button, and you look behind you and there's baby slug monster. You're like, okay, and then you run into the study and you have to kind of Benny Hill music run around the table until the elevator.
Just awful. So bad. But overall, an incredible sequence. So
that part is
really
great.
fun.
I'm glad the rest of the game wasn't that way. I do want to say, because I don't.
I couldn't handle that. Nope.
To play an entire game like that.
Like, I think it was good that they only had one segment of this game like truly be scary, because it felt like it was just the right amount of like that level of this is very scary. That it was perfect for me, I think.
I'm not excited to talk about the next section, the next boss.
Yeah, this is kind of where the game like, I thought the like kind of the fish water area, I thought was interesting, but I just was not really interested in him as a character. I think they just kind of do some weird kind of stuff with him.
I think that if you have a phobia of water, and if you have, I think it's called thalaphobia, where it's your fear of the giant monsters of the deep, then this part would fuck with you more. But because I don't have that, I looked at this as, big. Okay, I looked at that part. I'm like, okay, I get to manipulate your AI to understand where it is your like fish tracking is gonna go, and it was not only like the least scary part of the game, but it ended up being like at a certain point the most action-oriented. Okay, that's a lie. I'm not gonna say it's the most action-oriented part of the game. No, that I would be remiss saying that. It was just you go from like the scariest part of the game to like, okay, we need to calm the player down. We just set their heart rate at 180. And it's like, oh, you need to put it back to 60 or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like
at 90 or something.
Like, and like the gameplay is pretty similar to like the section of like Lady Dimitrescu, but I also think Lady Dimitrescu is a much more just like compelling character and villain than this guy whose name I can't even remember right now because I'm not looking at a character cast and I should be.
It's Mordhau.
Mordhau, yeah. It's just like, hey, look at this gross. Every game does need a gross little guy, like capital G, capital L, capital G. It's a common genre trope that there's at least one gross little guy and stuff. Sometimes they're a regular size, but they are spiritually a gross little guy. But there's always one.
Yes.
So you gotta have one, I guess. And this one just wasn't particularly interesting in any way to me.
No, actually, this part is kind of not great. Moreau,
that's
Moreau's Reservoir, that entire section. It's like, you get to deal with a big fish monster, and then you kill it, and then
we should, we would be remiss, before we go into the fourth section of this game, to not talk about our good friend, the Duke.
Why have we not talked about the Duke? This gigantic fat guy that you meet before you get to Lady Dimitrescu's castle.
I ain't never seen a big boy living in a truck.
You never find out much more about him except he's a big guy. He's just like the weapon merchant from Resident Evil 4. He sells you weapons. He upgrades your weapons. You have to bring him specialty food to upgrade your stats. He even steals a line from
good cooking sounds, which I always appreciate in the game.
Oh, Japan's war on food, real life food, continues with virtual food. And he even steals a line from the merchant from Resident Evil 4. He says, "What are you buying?" Oh, just a line I stole from an old friend. I'm like, that's the kind of fair service I like in a video game.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I love how just in the he'll be in the castle. And Lady Dimitrescu is like, you just barely escaped from her, and you could still hear her footsteps outside. And he's just like, it's kind of wild out there, huh?
They
And
never
you're just like,
explain why
"Please,
she
God,
can't
help me."
follow in there. I know it's like just like the Resident Evil thing where it's like it's a safe room and the zombies can't go in there, and if you're playing like Resident Evil Nemesis, the Nemesis can't go in there. It's just a gameplay mechanic. Like,
Yeah.
how do the boxes in Resident Evil 1 and 2 work? Like, well, I don't know. They just do. It's that sort of thing.
It's just the game. That's just what it is.
It's a video game thing.
Yeah.
Just like in the labyrinth type of puzzles. Why doesn't Ethan just say, "Oh, the ball went in the right here. I don't have time for this. I gotta go get my child." It's just a video game.
Hold on. Let me. My baby is trapped in 4 separate jars, and he's like doing like the ball and the cup thing. Like,
Yes, exactly.
I can just get it, and I can get $20 more.
Rose, you could wait. I almost got this.
Oh, that was close that time.
Oh yeah, did you have an issue with the money economy in this game?
I wouldn't say I had trouble with the money economy. The economy I thought was going pretty well until the fourth and I guess like kind of fourth-ish final section of the game, with Heisenberg, because fucking
Heisenberg's castle.
I hated this section really. Oh man, I don't know.
I've said before, I think on this podcast, I've definitely said many times. Magneto is one of my favorite villains and favorite characters.
Heisenberg does like the Magneto steps, like I'm making metal
That's
steps
so
for myself.
fucking
that is,
metal.
That's very sick. High tier move. Always respect it.
He loses his hammer because you can find it later on as like a thing to sell to the Duke. You're like, hey, I found Heisenberg's hammer, and you want to ask Ethan like, dude, smack him with it. I don't know.
I keep that, bro.
Actually, now that I think about it, since Heisenberg can control metal, that might be literally the worst thing to use against him.
That's a
is
good
his
point,
own
actually.
hammer.
Oh yeah, because we learned that there's actually something way better to use against Heisenberg. That.
Let's talk about his factory before we get to that. Let's talk about his factory.
I hate the factory so much.
It's not the best.
It feels like it's kind of the worst. Like, this was definitely my least favorite section of the game, just because it feels like it's just completely designed to just chew up all your ammo. It gets tedious very quickly.
It turns into an action game at this point.
Yeah, and it's just this game just isn't built like an action game, and so it's when it leans into that stuff, it's just not really what I came to this game expecting. It's fine. Like, the propeller guy is still kind of scary. I did not like him one bit. No, thank you.
That was a fun boss fight.
Yeah. But just this section is just like not. I don't know. Just I was good. I was like, it needed to be like half an hour shorter.
Of the 11 hours it took me to beat Resident Evil Village, I think 4 of those hours was spent just in Heisenberg's factory. It was not fun.
No,
it's
and then
so long.
Yeah, and then like you get knocked down to the bottom of this factory, and you're just like, oh my god, no! And then all of a sudden, Chris Redfield doing like the mid-game plot twist of I was the good guy the whole time. I was like, also like, hey, look at this sick tank I found that Heisenberg built, but actually doesn't. He can't control for some reason because it has plastic.
What it was?
Yes.
Wait, seriously? Is that I didn't know that.
That's like one of the notes or something nearby, but it's just like, hey, look at this! Look at this big tank. We're sorry for this really annoying section that we just put you through. Have fun in the tank.
I don't know what to think about the tank section when I got to it, because I was like, this is very cathartic, but then I thought, wait, this is also like, I want to say this is dumb, but if you've played a Resident Evil game before, you know that they always like start with the final boss having just a really dumb section. Except starting with the tank, the dumb doesn't end. This is the precursor to the rest of the dumb.
The precursor.
This is the game warn. You don't know it. This is the game warning you ahead of time. Oh, it gets dumber.
Oh, it's about to get
Buckle
super
in.
dumb. Like, well, first of all, you're like flying in the air with this tank thing, and like it's all very serious and somber.
Tornado.
Uh,
The magnet tornado killed me. Ethan's just like, oh, I'm caught in this magnet tornado. What am I supposed to do? I know. I'll control the tank while in the tornado and shoot it down Heisenberg's monster throat.
just
And
incredible.
he does.
And
it looked like a Jason Statham movie at that part.
And then like 5 minutes later, after the tank section, Ethan dies? Question mark.
Oh
And then-
yeah, Lady Miranda rips his heart out.
Yeah, she
literally,
like
in
pulls
front
his
of the
heart out. And you're
player's
like,
eyes.
you know, you being the player, like, you know, I know Ethan doesn't need his hand, but he probably needs that.
He might need
And
his
he
heart.
dies. Then he goes to Chris Redfield. It's like full on Gillies in the Mist, Call of Duty. Like, it's so funny because like literally 10 minutes ago, I was very carefully aiming to like preserve every single bullet I could. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm just like hip firing, like out of pure spite at these werewolf guys. Just like, this is,
Oh,
it's like,
the
oh, I got
modified
ammo
AK-47
Oh,
that they
yeah.
give you, it just annihilates
Oh, it
even
feels
like
so
the
good.
gigantic werewolves,
Oh,
the ones
yeah.
that take a magnum round or like what was it, 3 grenade launcher
Yeah.
rounds or something like that to kill them. Nah, Chris Redfield's like, "Brat," and they're down.
I'm
That's
not
it.
like I did not aim once in that section. I hip fired the whole time.
You
Out
have
of,
to.
out of pure spite. I was just like, let's go.
Out of spite. And then you get to the part where Chris Redfield has like the laser pointer to start calling in airstrikes.
Oh yeah.
Or artillery strikes or whatever the fuck. He's like, hey guys, aim at this section. And this is a section full of werewolves. You're like, what if it wasn't? And bam, they all disappear.
It's just it gets real dumb. It's great.
I did.
Then,
That was so cathartic.
Then there's the real twist here that you learn that Ethan is moss.
Yeah, Ethan is made out of moss.
He's made out of moss or mold or whatever.
Mold, that's what it is.
Mold.
Yeah, Ethan is made out of mold because he's a mold experiment. Apparently in part 7, when Resident Evil 7 begins, that very opening, Ethan Winters, the human, died. He's fucking dead. The Ethan Winters you've been playing in Resident Evil 7 and 8, that was him brought back to life made of mold.
Made of mold man.
And that's a good twist. I like that. I dug it.
It's just like how did you never notice this, Ethan? Did you never go outside? Did you never sit outside on a hot day and be like, I'm remediating. What's happening to me?
No. No, hear me out. That explains all of it. It explains why he's so fucking weird. Because he's not human anymore! Why does pouring the goo on his hand fix his hand? Why does he like mildly react to getting appendages
Why
ripped
does
off? 'Cause
Ethan
he's
Winters
not a
go to
fucking human!
an NFL playoff game and wear the NFL hat? That's what he would do.
Yes, because he's not human.
It's like,
He
I don't know.
hasn't been-
I like a black hat with a gray and silver logo.
He hasn't been a human for 2 games. I thought that was a great twist. It explained all of his weird mannerisms completely. Like,
Oh my
he's-
god, I was wrong. I was mold,
I was
all
mold all
along.
along.
You finally made a fungus. Yes, you finally made a fungus. Yes, you finally made a fungus out of me.
I love you, Mother Miranda. Oh my goodness. Yes, that twist totally happens. And so, after you get done murking everything as Chris Redfield, and I really do mean like this entire like half-hour section, you're just infinite. You have basically infinite bullets. You have almost infinite stim packs. You have actual military grenades. Nothing can stand in your way.
Oh,
You
it's so
understand why
good.
You understand why Chris Redfield hasn't been scared the entire time, because he's like, why? I can handle everything. What am I scared of? To be fair, if you have played Resident Evil games, this is the same Chris Redfield has gone through Resident Evil 1, 3. He was kind of in 3, 4. No, he wasn't in 4. He was in 5. He was definitely in 6. He was doing the exact same thing in 6. And you saw him at the end of 7. He put on a lot of muscle in that 3.5 years between 7 and 8. It's actually kind of ridiculous how jacked they make Chris Redfield. I thought he was a monster, actually, because he looked inhumanly large in the chest.
Are you
I'm not even kidding.
Are you also mold, fellow mold man? No. Oh, just me. Okay.
And well, let's talk about that very last ending part of the game. When when Chris Redfield discovers that Ethan Winters' wife, Evelyn, is actually still alive. The baby is all good and fine. The baby's been melded with Mother Miranda, but Rose is still alive, and Chris Redfield is looking for a way to destroy the big bad mold beast. And Ethan Winters comes back alive because he's like, oh yeah, I'm not dead. Yeah, I'm mold. It's okay. I'm not dead, but I'm gonna kill everyone and get my wife and my baby back. And then you play the last bit of the game. Oh, I love this part where the Duke picks you up. He's puts you in the back of his like little traveling carriage or caravan or whatever. And Ethan's like, "What are you?" And Duke's like, "Not even I know the answer to that." And it's like, "Oh, are you also mold, fellow?"
Ah, fellow mold man.
I actually don't know what the Duke
Am
is.
I
that's
mold?
Fun. Yes, Ethan, you are mold.
Ah, okay. Oh, weird.
I hate the final boss fight. I hate fighting
It's
Mother
bad.
Miranda.
Not good. Don't like it.
That fight sucks. Like, that fight is a test of how much did you upgrade all of your weapons.
Yeah, and how much ammo you have left. Like,
yeah, if the answer is not at all or not much ammo, this fight got out really dumb, really quick.
Just not great. But
I know a lot of Resident Evil bosses are bullet sponges, but this felt particularly egregious because she barely even reacts when you like dead set shotgun her right in the face, and she's like, "Oh, Ethan Winters, why won't you die?" Like, bitch, why won't you die? What the hell?
It says you. But you get through that. Ethan is trying to get away with Rose and hands does a lateral pass to Redfield to take Rose in for the touchdown. As as there's a big mold explosion and they blow it up and everything is bad. The end. But
not so bad. Evelyn and Rose live.
Evelyn and Rose live. During the credits, you get a very hilarious message of this is the end of Ethan's story. There is no more Ethan. Ethan is super dead.
Yeah,
we are done with Ethan, which is very funny.
Ethan Winters is not coming back. I think that's fine. They completed his story.
Yeah. And there's a, like kind of a post-credit like tease for what they do in the future. Like you see Rose slightly more grown up. And
she has powers.
She seems to have powers of some kind. They don't. The fun thing is that they don't say. You don't ever see what those are. So in like Resident Evil 9, that could be anything. So I think that is fun that they left that as wide open as they did. And kind of like I said, overall, I think the back half of this game was really kind of dragged down the experience, but overall, I think I had a pretty fun time playing this game. There are some really great moments. My new favorite protagonist, Ethan Winters. I just want to see him go into anything and get mildly scared, no matter how not scary or how unconfrontably horrifying something is. Just him having the same reaction to it was very endearing to me.
But that wasn't a human being you were playing. You were playing a mold man the entire time.
They should put Ethan Winters in Smash.
No! Oh Lord, no! Oh,
I said that and I was like, that would be so bad. That would be.
oh God, that would. What would the internet reaction be? Who? What? When did the internet have the worst Smash reaction? I think it was with Byleth. That would
Byleth is probably
absolutely
the
be worse.
worst one.
Byleth was bad. Hell, even I was really shitty about Byleth because I'm like, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake, I paid money for this.
I
Character?
was mad, but then I ended up really liking Byleth, so I got kind of owned by that.
No, we're not. Like Sakurai said, maybe in your downtime, try Byleth. Maybe you'll like them. And Mike's like, God damn it, that worked.
It did. Yeah, only one Smash announcement got a hose mad trending immediately after, so
Yes.
it trends a little bit every time, but only one time really did it.
I think, yeah, but there was nothing worse than Byleth. Justifiably so. Another anime sword fighter, and it's from Fire Emblem? Oh.
That was-
oh.
In
I'm
hindsight,
getting
that is
pissed just
very
thinking
funny.
about it.
Oh man,
Anyways, this isn't the host, man. Episode.
that'll be our
This
offshoot
is-
Smash podcast.
Oh my goodness. It's just me and Mike trying to Ganondorf versus the King Crocodile, trying to knock the other one off the stage.
Until the end of time.
Okay, back to Resident Evil. Yeah, I liked it. I dug it. I would recommend most people that like action games give it a try. If you like horror games, yeah, this has some really good horror moments. You're never like overloaded with bullets. There are certain parts of the game where it's like, yes, you have a lot of bullets, but this enemy has a lot of health. I recommended it to Josh to actually play, and I recommend Josh plays it on casual mode, because the higher the difficulty you actually ramp the game up, all it does is it makes it so enemies just take more bullets,
Yeah.
and that's super
I
lame.
I honestly would kind of recommend that too, just because I feel like the stuff that is here to be enjoyed is not in any way reduced by it being like on easier difficulty for sure. So I would 100% agree with that.
I mean, in casual mode, you could apparently drop their werewolves in one headshot as opposed to 2 or 3. It's like, okay, I actually wish I just played this game on casual mode.
Hey,
'Cause-
hello, casual mode. Hello.
Every time when I headshot the werewolves and they're like, "Arr!" and they shake it off, I visibly watch them shake it off. I'm like, all right, seriously, what the fuck? I get it, you're a werewolf,
Yeah.
but come on, man. I just deaded you in the head. But okay, anyways, I recommend that game. Really fun. I'm glad I played it. $60 well spent. I don't want to play any DLC. I'm not that interested in it. I thought it was just good enough, but I'm afraid DLC of the game will just be like probably more morose stuff where it's like kind of
Aw.
interesting, but kind
Man, what if the DLC is like they lure you in with like a Lady Demetresque backstory, and it's actually just another Heisenberg factory. He has 2 of them. Nightmare fuel. That's the real horror right there, folks.
You play as a character that Heisenberg tortured or something, and you have to help build Heisenberg's tank.
Oh no! Build me this sick tank that I can't use or control.
But I would like if there was you're onto something right there. If there was DLC where you played as one of the 4 victims of Lady Demetresque, because she does have 4 victims and they each have little notes in their cells. It's in her castle. If you played as one of her victims and you got to experience like how that storyline proceeded, like yeah, I probably would give that a shot. I
I'm
don't know.
curious to see like what kind of stuff they will do for that. That'll be interesting, and I'm sure that they've already said that they will, and I think this is. I guess this is like one of the best-selling Resident Evil games, I think, in the series history, if I'm not mistaken.
I would have to look that up. It's definitely the most played, like via Steam, or it had the most active users at one time of any other Resident Evil game, sales or otherwise. Like more people were playing this on release during its release window of like the first week or first month than any other game. So it might be the best selling. Actually, that's something we can Google right now. Best selling Resident Evil game. I would assume it's part 2, but let's see if it's 8. And the answer is 5. Wow. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's already up to 4.5 million, so it's doing pretty well for them.
That's impressive. That's a good job, Capcom. Yeah, Resident Evil 5, 13.4 million copies.
That's, I guess people really liked 4, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
4 is really good, but I can't believe 5 outsold it that much. I actually, I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna say like one of the reasons I never bought Part 5, even though I loved 4, is because it was Chris Redfield in Africa shooting a bunch of black people. I'm like, this seems fucked up. I don't know if I want to play this game.
Oh, yeah.
Also, one of the DLCs you could get from Chris Redfield's partner, whose name I forget, but she's in a very tribal wear, and like one of her outfits is a like a bra made of jaguar skin. I was like, okay, all right, guys,
Oh man, I'm sure. Oh. That's sometimes you see something like that, and then like the localization people just get the game, and they're just like, oh, no.
they're like, I'm just here to collect a check at this point.
Oh, yeah, that's not great.
That's actually the reason why I never bought that game like in its first initial launch, and I just haven't had an interest since. I'm sure there's a good story reason for it. I don't know. Maybe there's not.
Maybe they're mold.
They are not mold. They are Las Plagas, which is worse because those are aliens.
Are they bug people?
Kind of. Yeah, actually, yeah. If you see what Las Plagas actually looks like, it's aliens, and they kind of are. Scythe.
Is there a nasty little guy in the game?
Yes, there is. He looks like Napoleon in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, see, you keep an eye out for him. There's always one.
All right, you got anything else to say, Mike?
I think that'll be it for me. Thanks for joining me on this lovely spoiler cast, Ray.
Oh, well, thank you. It's good talking about this game. All right,
I guess
we need to sign off.
We need to sign off.
Josh is really good at.
If you're watching this, congratulations. We didn't make a video of it. I don't know how you did it. Give me a call.
I can make a video of this.
Okay. If you're listening to this, you should listen to it the same place. You should find the subscribe button on a page not too far away from your podcast thing that it's on right now, and hit that. Unscripted Gaming is where you can find us on YouTube. We have Twitter. We have a Facebook page. And we're probably on most podcast platforms where you regularly get them. So.
Oh, and please leave a review.
Yeah,
please leave a podcast.
We like a review. Those really help. We appreciate it. Don't leave 1-star reviews. If you have bad opinions, keep them to yourself. Only good ones.
Only good opinions. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And peace.
Peace.